So today I'm going to be speaking to you about how you can make time for yourself. Somebody kind of asked that as a really important and significant subject in yesterday's live, and I think it's one of these things that we all struggle with. And I've been thinking about it all day today. So how do you actually make time for yourself? I'm going to cover a number of different steps, a number of different tools and techniques that I think that you can use. And what I would absolutely love is if you find some, or if I say something that resonates with you, that you think is a good tip, then kind of, tell me that it's working for you. Or if there's something that you are doing that you think I'm missing out, then again, share it, because these lives are here to support the community that we have, to really help people to improve in their lives and literally to step into the greatness that you have. You know, everybody has the opportunity to live their life from a place of excellence. And I think that not enough of us are doing that. So my kind of mission at the moment is really to support individuals to move from that place of mediocrity to a place of excellence, where you are living your life on intention and you're being much more purposeful, and you are actually kind of supporting yourself to be the best that you can be. Because here's the thing, right? Once you do that, you're actually able to support other people as well. And this applies in your life, whether you're married or not, because there'll be friends and family that could do with your assistance. And if you have got kids, or you're surrounded by other kids, or whatever your situation is, people in some way, shape, or form will be looking to you for some kind of leadership. You are a role model for somebody. It doesn't matter whether you don't accept that, it's the truth. You are a role model for somebody, right? And when that somebody looks to you for leadership and for guidance, it's really important for you to be living your life in the best way that you possibly can. And one of the key factors to that is making time for yourself. Because here's the thing, right? If you are not able to make time for yourself, how can you then support other people? And the analogy that fits perfectly for this is the whole concept of, if you're on an airplane and they, in the announcements where they tell you how to prepare in case anything happens on the plane, they always say, put your oxygen mask on first, right? If you don't put your oxygen mask on properly, how are you then in a position to help anybody else, right? So it's really, really important for you to make the time that you need to nourish yourself, to take care of yourself, and for you to be able to make that time so that you can live in a life of excellence, inshallah, God willing, right? So how do you do that? How do you actually make time for yourself? I'm going to share quite a number of different tools and techniques, and you pick the one that works for you, right? Hey, Sof Sheriff, nice to see you. And everybody else, I'll just give some quick shout outs. Aminullah Ibrahim, I think that is, Yasmin, Mosmi Khan, over on Instagram. Who have we got here on Facebook? We've got Castro Yani and Syra Malik. Lovely to see you guys. It's do you know what's really nice and kind of comforting for me is seeing regular people come back. So those of you who are coming back day after day, I see you, I know you're here, and I just want to tell you a massive thank you from the bottom of my heart. Right, back to subject. How do you start to take care of yourself and really make some more time for yourself? Firstly, and I know that this is a hard one, but I'm saying that. I think I'm saying it because maybe it's hard for me. Maybe it's actually easy for you. I don't know. But you've got to learn to delegate. No doubt there are things that you are doing in your life that you don't need to do. right? If, for example, yeah, I'll give you a really easy example. My son's bed. It's not my job to make it, right? It was when he was younger, but as he's getting older now, it does irritate me that he doesn't make it every single day. But I am not going to take that on as something that I do. I am not going to make that into my job for me to be making his bed, right? And actually, knowing that I'm not going to take that on gives me more time. It sounds like it's a 2-minute job. It is. It's not huge, right? But it's the principle of it. Because the minute you start taking on other people's responsibilities, that 2 minutes ends up becoming 2 hours, and then it becomes 2 days, and then 2 weeks, and 2 months, and 2 years, to the extreme, 2 decades, right? So you learn to delegate. There will no doubt be some things that are quite easy for you to do. In fact, what I'd love you to do right now is to start thinking of what can you actually delegate to your kids if you've got them, to your spouse, to others. If you're working, what tasks are you doing that are actually not your responsibility? Make sure that you delegate those, right? Because the biggest mistake that people make when they're struggling to make time for themselves is that they keep on taking on other people's tasks. You know what they say? I remember when I was working in local government. So I'm at director level. I'm responsible for a project worth $500 million. And they always say, if you need something done, give it to the busiest person, right? So when you give it to the busiest person, what are they going to do? They're either going to delegate that task, or they're going to take it on themselves, or they're going to say no. And we're going to come on to saying no in a minute. But you've got to make sure that if there's something that you're doing that is not your responsibility, that is not your job, please shift it off your back, delegate it to somebody who should be responsible for it. And I gave a very clear example today of my son and his bed and how it's his responsibility to make it, not mine. Okay, I hope that's clear. Next, you've got to learn to say no. Saying no is one of the biggest challenges that you probably face, because as humans, we always want to say yes, right? We always want to help out people. Oh, Sister Seda, can you do this for me? Or can you do that for me? I really need your help. You're the perfect person for this, right? You're the one that's got the skill set. It goes on and on and on. You've heard all of these things before, right? But here's the thing. If you are taking on things when you know in your heart of heart that you should have actually said no, you're going to end up in a situation where you just do far too much and you'll be drowning. The biggest reason why people are, in fact, let me take that back. Amongst the biggest reasons why people are not working on their dreams and why they're not living their dreams is because they are saying yes to other people's dreams, to other people's priorities, right? You've got to bring back that level of control. And look, saying no is something that can be done very politely and very kindly and very gently, right? There's even kind of like coaching techniques that you can use for how to say no. In fact, I'm going to jot that down as another video that I should make for you guys, to how to say no, because I think it's such a significant thing. We just don't do that enough. Now, if someone comes to you tomorrow or later in the day and asks you to do something and you just don't have the capacity to do it, maybe it's a good time for you to start practicing how you say no, right? You can just say, look, you be honest. You don't have the time, you don't have the capacity, you're working on other projects. If that person is genuinely interested in you and your success, they're not going to get hurt. They're not going to get upset, right? But actually, what happens is that inside our minds, we're the ones that are thinking, oh, they're going to be insulted. They're going to think I'm not such a good friend. And all of that noise ends up putting us in a place where we say yes. So please, whatever you do, kind of try and Yeah, I'm going to say make yourself say no, please, to activities that are not for you. Because when you say yes to other people, you have less time for yourself. So if that is a challenge for you, you can see I've given you 2 tips already. Delegate and learn to say no. Right? Very, very significant things. The third thing that I think is really, really huge when it comes to making time for yourself, right, is don't allow your email or your social media to kind of run your day. And here's the thing, I spoke yesterday very briefly about mobile phones because I know that so many of us take them to bed, right? It's not really the kind of thing you should be going to sleep with. But what happens then is you hear the pings, right? The notifications are going off. And so, what's in charge of your life, what actually is giving the direction, is the messages, the text messages, the WhatsApp messages, the emails. But you've lost then kind of focus on your agenda. You've actually given your entire diary, your calendar, your agenda away to other people. And dare I say, sometimes it even happens to other people who don't matter. You know, you'll have received that email that says, I don't know, it could say Amazon offers or save 50% or whatever it is, and you click, and then you end up on a website that you haven't been on for ages, and then you kind of like get distracted, and then you end up in Facebook and then Instagram, and then you go back to your email and you look at your watch and you've lost an hour and a half of your time. Now, it might not be an hour and a half, but it could even be 15 minutes. And so when I get messages from people saying, "Oh, I'm struggling to manage my life. I don't know how I can get everything done. I wake up at, 6 a.m. and I'm going to sleep at midnight, and I've just got so much to do." My number one question in that situation is, have you actually done a full force time analysis? Because if you looked at how you actually spend each minute of your time, I guarantee you will see how you can become much more efficient. And that is a very, very powerful tool to use to make more time for yourself. Now, in this video, I suppose, or in this session, I'm really talking about kind of daily things that you can do. There's a whole ton of things that you can do to make time for yourself over the course of a week and over the course of a month and quarters and years, etc. But I want to give you things that you can implement today, that you can actually start thinking about. Because here's the thing, right? These 3 things that I've said to you already, learning to delegate, saying no, and managing your email. If you did those 3 things for the next 2 days, I guarantee that your life would change. But the challenge is that of all of the people that are watching this, whether you're watching the live or the replay, 1, 2, a handful, a few percent maximum are going to take on these challenges. Most people, they're just going to say, yeah, we heard it all before. And the thing is, you have heard it all before, but are you doing it? Right? And if you're looking to make more time for yourself, then these are the techniques that you've got to use. Sometimes it is the most obvious thing. There is just kind of like, it's the most obvious thing that you are ignoring. It's so obvious that you see through it and you don't even realize that it's there. One of my teachers always says common sense is not always common practice. And that is absolutely the case here when it comes to how you can try and make time for yourself. Some of the other things that I do, just to kind of start to wrap up this subject, is I try and do everything online. So gosh, when I was working and before we went traveling, what seems like many moons ago, I did all of my shopping online. So now I've gone back to that, and it's great. I mean, I can't stand going into the supermarket. It just literally makes your life so much easier, where you spend maybe 10-20 minutes, you do your order and it's done. And after a while it just gets quicker. I mean, at the moment it probably takes me 5 minutes to order my shopping. Now, how is that making time for yourself? Because it saves me from what would at least be a 2-hour round trip. You know, going to the supermarket is not easy. I mean, sometimes even queuing at the checkout can take, gosh, when I go and queue for my coffee in the morning, sometimes that can take 20 minutes. But you know what I mean, right? It can take ages. I doubt there is anyone that is watching this that is unable to do online shopping. I mean, I even taught my one of my nieces who is at university how to do online shopping on the basis of shop every 2 weeks. You know, you could just like spend 20 quid or $30, whatever it is, wherever you are, on food, right? Just double it up. Store some of the stuff in your room. You don't need to waste the time going to the supermarket. Okay, I mean, I think I'm getting distracted now. I was going to go off on a rant, so I won't. Internet banking is fantastic as well. Saves you a huge amount of time. I think most people do that now. And what else would I say? I think a couple of other things that I would say to really kind of like make time, but this is a slightly different subject. However, I'm going to talk about it here. Is you can make more time just by relaxing, right? And if every hour you spent 60 seconds just breathing deeply and kind of closing your eyes and reconnecting with yourself, you would probably find that you are more productive. Now, the whole idea of taking stock and taking a break from what you're doing means you are disengaging from that activity so that you can go back in. There's so much research that's been done about different productivity techniques and how you can become much more efficient and effective. And you know, I can't go through all of them here, but what I will tell you is one of the most effective ones is something called the Pomodoro technique. You can look it up online. I do it on the basis of 52 minutes on, 17 minutes off, 52 minutes on. When I do that 2-hour kind of like break like that, and I work like that, I'm telling you, it is so efficient because you sit there until the timer goes off. Now, here's the thing. You don't have a timer like this. You're not looking at it, right? You're not just watching it go and you're not listening to it and all of that stuff. So it's got to be out of sight. So when you're working, you're just literally at your desk and you're focused and you're just going for whatever task it is that you set yourself. How that makes more time for you is because you put a cap on it. So you're limiting your time rather than just going on and on and on. Because what happens is if you say, for example, I'm going to check my email, like even that sentence itself, I'm going to check my email, you know that could be an hour of time lost minimum, right? So put a time on it, cap it. You know, if you've got an assignment to do, if you're doing something for work, put a cap on the amount of time you're going to spend in there. I'll tell you just a couple of other things that I do to kind of become more efficient and make time for myself. I mean, I used to enjoy cooking much more than I do now. Now I kind of see it as a little bit of a chore. But when I do it, I want to make sure that I enjoy it. So how I have kind of readjusted that activity is I listen to an audiobook, or I am listening to my favorite show on the radio or a podcast or something. That way I'm actually doing an activity in service for my family, right, who I care about deeply. But at the same time, I'm also doing it on my terms and I'm making time for myself, even though it's a domestic activity that actually I'm doing for our wider kind of unit. But I'm making time for myself through that because I'm listening to my audiobook. I hope that helps, right? I mean, I actually think that I should do something else on efficiency as well. I think efficiency would be a really, really good subject to cover in one of these ones. So I'm just making a note there to say day-to-day efficiency. Okay, if you guys have got any questions, then just pop them into the chat box. Gosh, I think I need to go and have my evening cup of tea. You can pop them in the chat box. I can see you guys here on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. So just go ahead and if you've got any comments, let's have a look. So Atia, lovely to see you here on Facebook. Syra, great to see you again. Great notes, actually. Lovely summary. You're welcome, Syra Malik. I'm glad that these tips are useful for you. What I would absolutely love is if you implement them and then come back and let me know. And actually, I should give you a shout out, shouldn't I, Syra, because you were one of the few people that did the challenge that I set about the phone. So massive, massive congratulations to you. And thank you for messaging us and saying that you actually did it. Fazana, lovely to see you as well. Assalamu alaikum salam. And it's funny, you're saying cooking and cleaning helps clear my mind. Now, isn't that interesting? Because cleaning is the thing that I do to, I mean, I don't listen to anything when I'm doing that. And I don't want to get distracted. I use that as my kind of boring activity to clean my mind. Yes, exactly the same. But cooking, oh gosh, no, I don't. I think I used to enjoy it much more than I do now. Absolutely, it does make sense. So just coming over here to Instagram quickly. You're welcome, Mosmil Khan, no problem at all. And great, so lovely to see you here. Juman Kanesh, and right. Thank you guys all so much for your comments. Great to see you, and I'll be here again tomorrow. Okay then, take care and bye. Assalamu alaikum.